and welcome back to Mountain Bike Action. My name is JJ. Today we're riding the Spot Ryve 115. We're talking a cross-country bike with SRAM Axis drivetrain, SRAM G2 Ultimate brakes, Fox factory suspension, and Spot's own Living Link technology, which uses a leaf spring to help with the progression curve of the rear suspension. Let's see how it rides. The Ryve has carbon front and rear triangles with internal cable routing, boost axle spacing, and a single bottle mount in the front triangle. The geometry is longer and slacker than the previous Ryve, with a 66.2 degree head angle, a 76 degree seat angle, and a chainstay length of 435 millimeters, which carries across the size range. The reach on our size large was 475 millimeters. Our climbing experience aboard the Ryve 115 was wonderful. It conquers climbs faster and easier than any trail-focused XC bike we've ever ridden, and that's saying something. The suspension feels firm underfoot and resistant to body movements, but hit a bump and it responds excellently, keeping the rider planted in the saddle and able to keep the power down. We discovered that this bike is one of the best technical climbers we've ever ridden, and was able to go up just about everything with the grip it provided. We sometimes felt a lockout for the fork would have been nice for out of the saddle efforts, but for the most part, we were very happy with the climbing characteristics of the Ryve 115. We keep talking about the suspension and how it's so good or unique. The dual link design isn't too dissimilar to others on the market, except that it uses a leaf spring to help with the progression. Spot claims the titanium leaf spring has many advantages over a traditional pivot. It's said to be lighter, simpler, and will require zero maintenance. The spring becomes fully flexed at 50% travel, adding support on the climbs and reducing the pogo feeling you get when hitting big compressions on the descents. It does a lot more than that, but we don't have time to talk about it here. Our Ryve contained a Fox Float DPS factory shock to get 115 millimeters of rear travel, and a 130 travel Fox 34 factory fork with a Grip 2 damper. Okay, so this thing climbs well, but what about descending? The descending chops of the Ryve 115 were surprising. It craves speed and feels somewhat comfortable on terrain that makes many XC bikes flinch. The small to mid-bump performance was also a pleasant surprise considering its low amount of wheel travel. We can't say the Living Link offers any distinct benefit, but we can say it's a dialed feeling suspension system. Bigger hits remind us it's an XC bike quickly, but not in a harsh way, as it's such a progressive system. A lot of credit for the bike's stability goes to the Fox 34 factory fork, which handled everything without issue and kept us on course at all times. The geometry is spot on, pun intended, for XC style riding. It's very much at home on traditional XC trails and rips the tight and twisty stuff with ease. Our cornering experience was good, but not spectacular, though we never had any issues going around them. Our test Ryve 115 was the 6-star build, which came with XX1 Axis, G2 Ultimate brakes, and Industry 9 Trail 280 wheels. This build is no longer offered on their site since the introduction of the SRAM transmission, so we'd recommend that you head over to their site to see what options you might have. Keep in mind, this bike is transmission compatible. If there was one particular thing we loved about this bike, it was the longer than average 170mm dropper post that you don't usually see on XC bikes. It got the seat out of the way quite effectively so that we could send just a little bit harder. Another thing is the rear suspension is very dialed, which allowed us to make small changes to keep achieving different results. There's nothing we really hated. The only gripe we had came with the shelf of the leaf spring and its tendency to collect small debris, specifically on wet days. What a bike! As the XC category evolves, each new model seems to be more capable than the one before, and the Ryve 115 is no exception. We feel it's what a modern XC bike should be, with its uphill capabilities of a race bike and the descending capabilities of a more qualified trail bike. It really is a do-it-all machine that is comfortable in many situations, so if you were to buy it, we doubt you'd be disappointed. that's what we have to say about that. We had a ton of fun on this bike. I personally did a lot of days, from long all-day epic adventures to short jaunts in the woods, and had a really good time. Climbs well, descends well, and most importantly, it's just a lot of fun. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up and a comment down below. And you might as well, while you're there, hit that subscribe button. Also, go check out the magazine, link in the description below. We do monthly magazines, and there's articles in there for everybody. So now that I'm done, it's time for you to get on a bike, and I'll see you next time.